2024 has been an amazing year for movies, or at least a fun one. We have had sequels to movies that came out 4 years ago. We have had sequels that should have come out 4 years ago. We've had sequels that nobody asked for. We've had movies that we've been waiting on for 2 years and was not worth the wait. And then, of course, we have Nosferatu. Yeah, that one exists. It's great. We'll get to that. All that is to say, I didn't see every single movie this year. Obviously, I don't do this for a living. I do this for fun. But yeah, I didn't see the big stinker Borderlands. Never played a single Borderlands game in my life, so I didn't feel like I needed to. I also never saw Mad Max because I didn't see any of the original, and I meant to see it. And you guys don't care. Just, I didn't see it. I will probably see most of these at some point. I really wanted to see Flow in theaters, but a certain somebody didn't let me. That is to say, things like The Wild Robot seemed really good, and I'll get on that at some point. But again, this is a hobby. And yeah, we'll try and get through this as fast as possible. Absolutely nobody didn't see this coming. Everything bad that needs to be said about Madame Web has already been said 1,000 times. This movie is no good with no redeeming qualities. I usually try and find good things about a movie to say. I can't. That's about it. I won't be political about this, so if you don't like Trump, don't watch this movie. If you do, I still don't really recommend this movie. It's just glazing and there's not really anything new in it. If you just watch the news at all or open up Instagram from time to time, everything that is in this movie is on there and it's just a really boring way of telling you. So unless you live under a rock, there's really no reason to watch this movie. I was not the target audience of this movie. These kind of people were. You all know the type. The action was really boring and the characters were really flat. So do not recommend this movie. Another stinker. I think everybody saw this one coming. If you happen to see Tenet, I'm sorry. I love Trevor Henderson, but I cannot defend this movie. It's just bad. Gore was interesting, but the plot was non-existent and didn't make any sense. I'll keep it really simple. Who are half of these people? This side is cool. You guys can stay. Who are any of you? There's so many people. There's so much happening in this movie. And I just want to see Bill Murray, guys. Come on. They have such an easy formula with Ghostbusters. I don't know why they kept bringing in more people. If you liked any of the other VHSs, maybe you'll like this. If you just like horror, you probably won't like this. It's just more VHS. Maybe I have a bias because he pissed all over the middle class, aka the one I'm a part of, but guys, come on. Like, this is just glazing. It's glazing, not even at its finest. It's 3 hours of really boring glazing. It's funny. It's funny to watch with friends, but come on, guys. Let's be real here. Conclave. If you're a fan of drama, maybe you'll like this. I don't really recommend it. And if you're religious, watch everything but the last 10 minutes and you'll have a good time, I guess. It's not bad, but I don't know, dude. I'm not really the target audience for this movie. I loved Joker 1, but the fact is, there's nothing I can defend in this movie. It's bad, it's boring, it's slow, the music isn't fitting, and it just doesn't really make a lot of sense. The best thing about the original is that how grim it was and how you felt bad for Joker because he was a victim in the world, but he's just kind of a bad guy here. So everything good about the first one doesn't exist in this one.
It's very dumb.
The story is non-existent. I had a blast.
Difference in my opinion is that I was not born around Y2K, so I have no context for any of these people. I like Limp Bizkit and this movie was funny, but listen, I'm not gonna freak out because he's in the movie, guys. Let's be real here. This should be a shock to nobody. The Krampus was the only good thing about this movie. It was a $300 million pile of just generic AI sounding slop. It was creative at least. It wasn't a great movie, but the plot is, interesting at least. And, the bad guy making you watch as he takes away your kid, that's pretty intense. So that's something, I guess. This isn't as bad as everybody says, or at least I don't think so. But the fact is that the original is better. This one's just more horror. A lot more jump scares. The first one's a lot better, slower burn, and has more suspense. If you liked every other King Kong or Godzilla movie, you will like this one because it does nothing different. My only complaint why it's so low is because it took so freaking long to get to the fight. It was at the end of the movie. I don't care about this whole moth civilization and these ancient tribal people. Let me see Big Monkey and the Lizard team up. I paid for this. I want to see them fight the other Big Monkey and Lizard. Once again, Tom Hardy was doing his best to carry this movie, but even he couldn't save it. The CGI is one of my bigger complaints, but the fact is that they wasted so many cool Venom symbiotes. I've never read a single Venom comic before in my life, but even I could see how cool these things were. And we didn't get to see them at all. I don't think any of you saw this. I'm not surprised. It was pretty much empty when we saw it. It was fun, at least. It was cool, but if you take a zombie film and replace it with werewolves, that's this movie, and it ends exactly how you expect it would. I didn't have a lot of expectations considering it got pushed back for so long, but I expected something. I didn't get much. It was fun, I guess. It wasn't the worst thing in the world, but the villains were weird and wasted. Rhino only got one scene where he was actually Rhino. I don't even know what this guy was doing, just teleporting around. Another lukewarm take, but Jim Carrey was once again the best part of these movies. It was fun, I guess, but the script was buns. I don't know, maybe it's because I don't really play the Sonic games, but I'm an OG. I was there. I don't even know what's happening anymore, so it's fun, I guess. That's all it really is. The animation was pretty good. That's about it. It was basically just marketable characters in the movie. The ending was really fun, though. Again, villain's the worst out of the trilogy. The minions are the most annoying out of the trilogy, and Gru is just the weirdest out of the trilogy. I don't know. There's just too much going on in this movie. The actors had a good time, so I had a good time. There's a lot of Legacy sequels out there, and this is probably one of the better. Was it perfect? Absolutely not. There was so much going on, but the art style was the same, and there wasn't an overuse of CGI, so I really did enjoy it. This movie was very close to being bad, but the villain carried really hard. I think logically this is what the plot would be, but the fans aren't ready to see Poe move on yet, so I think that hurt the movie a bit too, but they need to stop it here. A 5 will enter bad. Kung Fu Panda is one of the best trilogies I can recommend as an, kids animated film. Don't push it any further. This is, dangerously close to just buns. The plot's cool, but I don't like musicals. John Wick on all the drugs, but you're not quite overdosing yet. I don't even remember what was going on in the third act as much, but it was really fun and the action was really good. I fear my enjoyment of this movie may outweigh how good it actually was. This movie as a whole was really well put together, and I love the way that they used the Legos and the colors. It really popped and told an amazing story. I'm really surprised how much they got away with, though, because I don't think Legos ever endorsed Snoop Dogg or Kendrick Lamar or freaking MLK before, so that's a really cool use of the license. This movie is surprisingly relevant in modern events, but I had a blast watching this. This is more than just a fun action movie. This is like action that is really fun, and that's not something you get to see every day. It's very adjacent to John Wick, but at the end of the day, this is a heavily action movie, so it's not really something everybody can watch, but it's good. It's good by every means. I was genuinely surprised at how good this was. I had no expectations going in because obviously I wasn't the target audience, but it was a blast to watch, and it tells an amazing story and just blows the first one out of the water. Longlegs is hard because I really did like most of it. Was it the horror movie of the decade or whatever, like people were saying? Not even close, but this was a really good movie, and I think one of the best ones of this year. The ending was a little disappointing, though, because the whole movie was sort of setting up to be like, how could he do this without magic? How could this guy be so smart? How is he doing this without magic? Just kidding! It is magic! Idiot! Did I fool you? So I felt a little betrayed by that, but everything else in this movie was really good, and the ending was really shocking and really well put together.
I'm so sorry. I'll be right back.
No, I'll be right back. You'll still be in the kitchen.
I expected this to just be kind of summer movie slop, just fun in the moment, but this was actually a very well put together film. Only other thing I can say is that they absolutely robbed this movie. Why did they change the posters? This is just 2 people. This is fire. This is such a waste. I should probably make an entire episode on this. This movie is a fever dream at times, really hilarious at others, and truly scary at others. It's everything that it intended to be and did an amazing job at it. The only reason I don't rank it higher is because this movie is not something I can tell everybody to watch. It's not just horror, it's not just drama, it's not just one thing. It lived up to every expectation, and of course my expectations were set by Dead Meat. Thank you, James. I truly hope that they make a sequel. This movie was great and had a shocking amount of Transformers gore. I did not expect that at all. I cannot say I've been a longtime fan of the Transformers series, but obviously I had the toys as a kid, and this movie was great, and I wish this was around as a kid because I would have loved it. I'm sure some people put this movie super high up, but I won't, just because you have to do your homework to see this movie. The first half of this movie and the first Dune are so painfully boring, but holy cow is the second half of this movie so freaking good. It is such an annoyance that you have to see so much to get to it, but the payoff is so good. I think that my personal enjoyment outweighed how good this movie actually may have been in retrospect, but all 300 of you that watch this video I don't think are going to really care. But the fact is that this movie is something that I would recommend to people because it is a psychological horror film and actually challenges your belief, and I think that that is something that is really entertaining to watch and I don't see a lot of nowadays. This reignited my love for the Alien franchise. I've seen the first few and I did not like where it was going. I don't mind action Alien, but I think alien horror is something we don't see enough of, and I'm glad that it went back to it. This combines some action, but mainly just horror, and I love that fact. I think that this movie was amazing and isn't talked about just enough. It's glazed, but not glazed enough in my opinion. This movie's great. I have it on DVD. I think that this is something that we'll see more of in the coming years, but considering this movie's topic, it is surprisingly not political one bit. There is no bit of red and blue, left and right, us and them. There is none of that. It is a movie about the horrors of war and how awful it can be, and that is amazing. And I am so happy because considering this wasn't a horror movie, this had some truly horrific scenes in it.
Okay. What kind of American are you?
and really just stunning. That and some of these shots were just absolutely beautiful. This is everything good about the first Smile, but better. My only complaint for the first Smile movie is that it relied way too heavily on jump scares. This movie does not do that at all. Of course it has jump scares, it's a horror movie in 2024, but this is not a movie carried by its scares. It is a movie carried by the absolute horrific nature of the curse. This is an amazing horror movie and the best of 2024. Alright, let's be real here. This is mainly just because I love this movie so much. I can't objectively say that this movie was perfect, but I think it was great. This is one of the few films in recent years that is actually good, made by M. Night Shyamalan, and I loved almost every second of it. That I was really worried that all of it would be spoiled in the trailer, but it was not. It completely blue-balled me in the best kind of way. This is one of the better movies of 2024, and I argue it's one of the best. The only thing really negative about this movie is that they focus a little bit too much on the music. Penguins made a good point that sometimes it just feels like a music video. But again, I loved every second of this movie. I really did. At no point was I ever able to understand what was going on or what was going to happen next, and I love that. That's what real suspense is like, and I've missed that in recent years. Unfortunately, Coraline did not come out this year, so I'm not counting it, but I did see it in theaters, and I really hope that you did too, because I recommend it heavily. And also, just watch this movie if you haven't. This is an amazingly put together movie. If I could, I would have put it in 2, because Coraline is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love the animation, I love the story, and I love everything about it, and I love that it's still spawning theories 20 years later. But again, it didn't come out this year, so it won't be on this list. So just think of it as an honorable mention. This shouldn't be too big of a surprise. I know it's not everybody's favorite, but I really loved it. It is not only a middle finger to Marvel, but it is a love letter to fans and just movies in the past few years. It plays on every trope and uses this rotting corpse that Marvel has left of the MCU and turns it into something beautiful. They use all the twisted and messed up storylines that Marvel has just been throwing all over the place and actually put them together in a beautiful film, not only ending the stories of many characters that never got their ending. This movie is everything great about the MCU and about Marvel and about Deadpool, and none of the bad. They put in all the best fights, all the best gore, all the best action. I think that not only this is the second to best Deadpool, I think that this is one of the better movies in the MCU, at least recently anyways.